Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Rosie Anderson, Lady Cyber Rosie on Twitter. I'm a recruiter who's spent over 2 decades and I've helped hundreds of people get roles in cyber and technology. I started working in cyber recruitment in 2005, so I've done 7 years cyber recruitment and 20 years tech recruitment. And I set up my own recruitment agency in 2022 in January when the country went into second lockdown. So with my 4-year-old at home, my baby, and a new business, I can juggle like quite a few people. I'm also head of industry mentoring for Caps Lock, which is a cyber bootcamp that retrains people into cyber from other industries. And I'm a retired party girl with 2 kids, mentoring, and a business. I don't really have time for drinking anymore, although you might not believe that tonight at Cyber House Party. So I'm going to do this talk in 2 halves. The first 15 minutes will be about hacking your career, how to get into the industry, and the second half will be about hiring. And we should have time for questions. So you want to work in cyber. I get told this all the time, I want to work in cyber. And it's like saying you want to work in science. There's quite a broad field. So you need to really narrow down what you want to do in cybersecurity. There is pen testing and there's SOC, but before you even start there, you probably need to think about what is cyber to you and why you want to work in cyber. There's a great Crest website. Crest is a governing body for cyber, and they have day in the life videos. So, you know, cyber isn't just pen testing, it isn't just hackers and hoodies, it's far broader than that. And there's so much more than just pen testing and SOC. There's really is a role for everybody in cybersecurity. There's risk management, which you can argue is that information security versus cybersecurity, but there's identity access management. The field really is so broad. But the common theme in cyber is we need some great communicators who can work with people who are technical, who aren't technical, and really help to persuade them as to why cyber is important. So if you're a great communicator, we can teach you the technical skills. So like I say, the field is extremely broad, and I'm going to move, because despite my small height, it's probably going to struggle to see all of these things. If you're just starting out, you can want to be a pen tester, which is great, and you can want to be a SOC analyst. But if you're entry level and trying to really define what you do, or trying to set yourself apart, there's things like DevSecOps, there's threat intelligence, which you've heard about today, there's identity access management, there's security architecture, and all these are growing in demand. If you can define where on this journey you want to be, and like I say, if you want to be a SOC analyst and a pen tester, that's great, but they aren't the only pathways. The important thing is finding your passion, because there's no point trying to push yourself down a route that you're not passionate about, because it's very easy to get burnt out in this industry, and if you're doing something that you love and you're curious about, it will feel like a much easier journey. So you've decided where you want to be, you've decided what you want to do, so let's build some technical skills, because to get somebody to hire you, you are going to have to show your technical knowledge. So you can start with things like Try Hack Me before you go on to Hack the Box. There's Range Force that have both offensive and defensive labs. You can tinker around and build your own home network. You can separate that for a guest Wi-Fi and a home Wi-Fi, which is a fantastic project to then put on your CV. There's plenty of different things that you can do to build those technical skills. Now, I will disclaim here, please don't hack into your neighbour's router, even if they are, you know, you have bin wars or whatever. It's not a great way to start in this industry. And the same for your home router. Please don't hack into that either, because the telecoms industry might have something to say about that. There are lots and lots of different things that you can do to build those technical skills. There's Discord channels. There's things like Capture the Talent. There's things like there's other Discord channels as well, and then at Digital Overdose is another great Discord channel for people who are starting out. Simply Cyber have a really good master GRC course, which again, if you want to go into risk, that's a great way to build, and it's a pay what you can. You don't actually have to pay anything. And I'm going to mention Caps Lock, and I've just seen Lorna over there. Caps Lock is a fantastic bootcamp to retrain you, and you can do that full-time or part-time. Now again, a little caveat, I am head of industry mentoring, so I have a slight bias there, but it's a great way to enter into the industry. Now, as any elite pen tester knows, it's not just poning those systems. You need to be able to write reports. So we're going to talk about professional skills. You can get domain admin access, you can do what you need to do as a techie, but if you can't persuade the board, the tech teams of what you've done and write up about it and communicate, you're not going to get very far as a pen tester. So you're going to have to be just as good at writing those technical reports. So technical reports for the IT teams, exec reports for the board. You need to persuade them as to what you've done and why it's important that they fix this problem. And also risk severity reports and remediation techniques for people who are technical and non-technical. So after you've pwned all those boxes and done those different challenges, you then need to think about, well, how would I write up how to remediate that? And that's something you can then share on social media, or you can share in your blog or in your portfolio as to what you've done. Now, again, another little caveat, not every box that you pwn or training area wants you to write those reports, so just check that your training provider hasn't got like a caveat that you can't do technical write-ups. But if we treat each technical challenge that we do as a client engagement, you'd have to write those sort of reports. I'm going to talk about social media because it is so important. Oh, hang on, I pressed the wrong button again. I always do this. There's also things like you might write that report but not feel comfortable sharing that. And I understand that LinkedIn, sometimes it can be quite nervous writing technical reports. But if you go onto Discord, you'll find a technical community that's more than happy to share knowledge, and you can test your theories, test what you've done, before you then go to write a blog post or go out on LinkedIn or go out onto Twitter. So I'm going to talk about what we've done. So we've built a portfolio of who we are, and we're starting to learn, and we're starting to think about, right, we want that first job in industry. Now, entry-level talent, there's a wealth of people who are applying for those jobs. I'm going to be very honest, you may occasionally get a job through a recruitment agency like myself, but chances are you're going to get that first job by networking in industry. And if you're here at these sort of conferences, you're already networking. That's way harder than networking on LinkedIn. Although I don't necessarily get paid to hire people, that doesn't mean I've not helped people start out their careers. So if a hiring manager is going to invest in you and train you, chances are they're not going to want to pay a recruitment fee. So you need to think about networking. So you might see a great job that you really want to work in. What you should do is apply for that job, don't get me wrong, but also have a look at who else works there. Who do you know? You might be part of a Discord group and find somebody who works at that company that you want to work for. If you look on LinkedIn, you might realize this is the hiring manager and we're 2 degrees of separation away. So you reach out to them to say, I've seen that you're hiring. I want to chat with you about the environment and the culture. You might see a peer, a SOC analyst, if that's the role that you're applying for. Tell me about what they're like to work for. Now, the really good thing with networking like that is, as a client who's hiring, the people in those teams might be able to recommend you in and get you that foot in the door. But the hiring manager might have an agency that they're working with. They might want to bypass that process by, if they see that you're sharing great content and they know you, you've already got that kind of foot in the door. So, we have got time for a couple of questions if you want them, or we can wait till the end before I go into the second part of the talk. I don't mind if you want to grab me after. Okay, go into the second part. Okay, so this half of my talk is all about hiring and recruitment and my advice with what I've learned. Like I said at the beginning, I've been hiring in cyber for 7 years and two decades in tech recruitment, and I have never seen a market as wild as this one. Network, security, SIEM, cloud salaries are increasing up to 25% in 12 months periods. I'm seeing sign-on bonuses. I'm seeing candidates are on the market and they're snapped up in a week. So those old, outdated recruitment processes of 3-4 interviews and massive gaps between, that just doesn't cut it if you're trying to hire talent. What I'm also seeing is people who have been neglected, maybe they've been overlooked for promotion, maybe there's not the training budget that there was. You're not going to retain your staff if that's what's been going on. So you need to really think about retention as well as attracting talent. If you advertise a junior role, you're getting hundreds of applications. So if you don't have a trained eye looking for that talent, and looking at have they got the right visa, all these sort of things that we do in recruitment, you've suddenly got a massive admin task of replying to everyone. And hopefully you are going to reply to everyone. So let's start with job descriptions. A job description should be an internal document. So a job description to talk about what you want from a candidate, what you want that person to do, what a typical day looks like, what's the problem that they're solving. Let's sort of rip up all the old documents that have been like 5-10 years old. What do you actually want that person to do? What are they coming in to solve for you? And if you're not thinking that way, you're probably going to find when you go out to advertise and you're not talking about the problems, it's not going to be as attractive to people to apply. So you should always start from scratch. You might have had Joe Bloggs was in this role or Jessica Bloggs was in this role and now they've left. You shouldn't be trying to carbon copy that person, because chances are that skill set has evolved anyway, that problem has evolved, and you're not going to have a wide talent pool by doing that. You're adding bias into that recruitment process. So don't just think about your current workforce, think about, right, let's start again from scratch. Now, I've got a little story here, and I worked in recruitment for a long time. We actually had a chasm between what we were advertising for and what the actual person was coming in to do. A previous company that I worked for, we regularly found people were coming in thinking that recruitment, they were going to go out to events all the time and they're going to be meeting people face to face, which is a tenth of what we do. And when they had that rude awakening of you're looking at a screen and talking to people on the phone, there was a massive gap between that expectation and that reality. And so we had it in our roles. When we looked at the job adverts, they weren't actually selling. They were selling all the glamorous parts of recruitment, but it wasn't quite like that for the candidates that were coming in. So when you've written that job spec, go and speak to your team and get them to review it. And if it's not real, then we start again. I'm going to talk about job adverts. And please, 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 a job advert is not a job description. A job advert is why you're a great employer to work for. Why should somebody come and work for you? Like, it's your attraction, it's your Tinder profile. It might not be 100% real, but it's all the good shiny bits. Why should somebody come and work for you over your competitor? It's your opportunity to sell. And I think if you go and, again, if you speak to your current staff, why do you love working here? If they can't answer you, that's a little alarm bell there that, recruitment's going to be in your future for a while. But these are the things that need to go into a job advert. So think about yourself. If you're looking at a job, what do you want to know? You want to know the money, which I'll come on to in a second, but you want to know, what am I doing? What's the team? What's the challenge? Why's the role come about? Is this a brand new project and I've got scope and I can put my creativity on it? Am I stepping in to fix something that needs, that needs fixing because it's been broken, but I can recraft the process? Is it we're starting from scratch? Is it greenfield? Is it brownfield? Is it a standard? I'm coming in, the team's already working, but actually this is something I can grab and take that team on a journey, but it's already established. And different things will attract different people. But if you're not honest about what you're actually doing, you will be catfishing that potential employee. And so many times I will speak to a customer and say, right, your job spec, which leads me nicely onto this, your job spec says this. Like, nobody has 5 years experience of this new tool that came out 12 months ago. So again, let's go back to basics. What do we actually want? So if what we want is somebody to replace the person from before, well, that's probably not the best approach, because that person's already gone, and chances are they've gone to something new being paid a lot more than they were paid, because like I said, the salaries are wild right now. Do you need a degree? What about somebody who's retrained from another industry? Maybe they've worked in IT, but they don't have a degree. Why are you overlooking that person for your SOC analyst role or whatever? Perfect, lots of different examples you can use there. Are you really looking for somebody who's got experience of X, Y, and Z? Right, so that looks like a Google job spec. Are you paying Google salaries? No? Okay, well, let's wind it back and think, this is what we need to get in the industry. What can we train? And it's not just about salary, it's also about benefits. So what's important benefit to me, and I do regularly say I'm majorly unemployable right now, is the flexibility to pick and choose my hours. The job gets done, it's up to me when I do those hours. I have requirements and obligations to my customers to deliver, but I pick and choose those hours. That's not that prevalent in the industry, but if that's your benefit, if that's something that you can offer, you might be able to pay 10 grand lower than the market average if you're offering somebody that grown-up approach to working hours. I regularly see roles advertised as London, but when I dig into it, oh no, it's only 1 day a week in London. Why are you advertising it as London? You've just massively opened up your talent pool. I can get from Stoke to London in an hour and a half. I could do that 1 day a week. Flexible working. So if I speak to somebody, I've got a candidate and they only want to work part-time. Part-time to them is 20 hours, 30 hours. Oh yeah, we'll take that. Great. Put that on your job adverts, even if it's not something that you've done already. If you're open to a conversation about flexible working, that's what should be on there. So salary, I have kind of talked about salary a little bit. 76% more applicants from salary. You need to ask why you're not advertising salaries, and if it's because it was a process that's been in place for 5 years, the world's changed. These types of candidates, experienced talent, aren't applying for roles every day. In fact, they don't need to apply for roles. It's only if they spot something that's really interesting, because it's a really interesting job advert, that they'll actually apply. They're normally headhunted by internal recruitment teams or people like myself and Natasha in recruitment. So 76% more applicants. What worked before doesn't work now. And like I say about benefits, quiz your current team. Quiz your current employees. What benefits do you use? Why do you work here? What would you like to see? It's also a great way to test how happy they are in their role right now. And then when it comes to advertising, where is your current team looking for talent? So if you want to widen that talent pool, are they at conferences hiring? Are they in Discord channels, which is where technical talent is? Are they looking at ways, going out into schools, going out into universities and talking about why you're such a great employer and helping to generate that next talent pipeline? These are all different things that your recruiters should be doing, both internal or external if you're using agencies. So I am going to give some examples, because I did promise it wouldn't just be a everything is shit type talk. This is a perfect example of somebody who, this role was filled within a week. Interviewed, offered, filled within a week. We're not looking for certifications or years of experience. So straight away, he's widened that talent pool. When you actually click on the link, there was a salary advertised. I think it was 30 to 39,000 for an entry-level role. Remote, or at one of our offices, or a mixture, you choose. So all of the things that I talk about, this is the mission. These are very much professional skills to be brought upon. And he used the power of social networks. So he went out on his social networks to massively widen that talent pool. Now, like I say, this role was filled, but if we look at the benefits, a really detailed list of different benefits that can suit everybody. They do talk about, I'm pretty sure they talk about menopause pay. So again, something that attracts women, that affects women. So it's very much an inclusive employee. Yeah, menopause support, will writing, health screening. So very inclusive as an employer. And then I'm going to talk about, and he is here, Glenn at Skybet. There's your note to take a picture. Shared this job advert. There's no list of technical skills with 5 years of experience or other annoying things. There's a wide salary banding. If you've got a wide salary banding, post it. It's better to post it than not post it, because people are thinking, well, what does that mean? Looking for a remote role, we're open to discuss remote working. Again, all of those ticks in the boxes. And a great benefits package, just in case I'm in the way again. The only thing with both of those, I would imagine candidates when they applied might have had then an email saying, this is the recruitment process, you'll be contacted on this day, or we have 2-stage interviews. Just another way to really sort of open up that process. So interviewing, right. This is something I'm quite passionate about. I'll stand this way. If you interview anybody, they should get feedback. They should get a no for now approach if they're not right. They should get detailed feedback. It's better to tell somebody if they've done something wrong, because they would rather know that than go into the next 10 interviews wondering why is nobody hiring me. Anybody who applies really should get a rejection, even if they're not called for interview. And it's okay to say we had such a competitive selection of candidates. Unfortunately, you've not been selected at this time. That feedback loop and that impression of your company in the industry is so important, because it's such a tight-knit industry. If you give a bad experience to somebody who's at Caps Lock, there's 60 people a cohort on Caps Lock. So if you don't get feedback and it's not a great experience, that's 60 professionals going into the industry that could then be a negative impact on your company. So if it's a 2-3 stage interview process, I would say you need to be quick with those processes. Good candidates aren't on the market for long. It's typically 1 to 2 weeks before somebody's got a job offer. And then when we talk about job offers, if you're going to offer somebody, get the paperwork to them, or get an email that says, we're going to offer you this salary very quickly, because just because you've offered this, great research, vulnerability researcher, doesn't mean that everyone else that they've interviewed isn't going to offer them. So if they want £60,000, don't offer them £55,000 and then haggle a bit and get to £60,000. Don't lowball, because if you're lowballing just to try and save that £5,000 for no reason other than you're just trying to get them a little bit cheaper, you're going to put that seed of doubt in their minds. It is such a competitive market, like I say, and it's not just about salaries, it's about the whole package, it's the role, it's all of those things. What are they part of that journey for? What are they coming in to solve for you? But by making sure that all of that offer process is really smooth, you're going to make sure you don't lose them, because you don't want to get to this point and us as recruiters get so frustrated, we get to this point and then we lose the candidate. Now you've offered them, they've accepted, great. They might have a notice period, so don't stop talking to them. You need to talk to them regularly between the day that you offer them and the day that they start. And this is where it's a great opportunity to have somebody in the business who's not their manager, who's going to be a peer, to start to help them transition into the company. So you can do things like every week, just check in, a WhatsApp message, hey, have you got your offer? Do you know where you're going? Have you handed your notice in? We're going to do this company event. Here's the company newsletter. We're going to meet for drinks next week. Do you want to come and join us and meet some of your team? Because it's not over just because you've offered. There's such a long notice period, and particularly for defence candidates, if they're going through security clearance, this is where you don't want to get to a week before they start and they pull out, because then you're straight back to the beginning. It's a big frustration for us in recruitment. So I have nicely come on to this. Okay, so they've accepted, they're due to start, it's the week before. Have you planned things? Particularly if they're joining remotely, have they got tech? Are they coming into the office on the first day? Who's going to meet them? Do they know where to park? Do they know which tube station to get off to and how to get from the tube station to the event? Looking at you, Dankon. Anything that you can do to plan that first week, and particularly put that into people's calendars, because my calendar fills up like a month in advance, so will your teams. But doing these things, there's plenty of opportunities you can give to somebody who's not yet a manager to mentor or buddy somebody within the business and help them transition into the company. I think that's my ranting over with. So if anybody wants to chat with me, I'm not sure how I'm doing on time. Any questions, or you can grab me in the bar afterwards. Oh, I've got 6 minutes if anyone does have questions. Ooh, might fall over. Oh. Oh.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Great. Thanks for your presentation, Rose. You have said that not only salary, I mean, salary is a good thing, but I think the people are looking for some other things there as well. So maybe, say, a 4-day work week,
yeah,
or something like more time at home, remote work. I think this has changed. Is this also in your opinion?
100%. So what people wanted pre-pandemic doesn't necessarily work now. Have I got feedback, or can you hear me okay? I'll take this off because I can hear myself and it's really off-putting. It's not just salary. Salary is important if it's a massively low salary, but by positioning, you've got an unlimited training budget. You can grow a team from scratch. You can work from home. You can do a 4-day week or a condensed week. I know a customer who, they don't pay the best. They pay about just below market average, but you get paid overtime over 37 hours and you pick what time you start and finish. You've also got like a share scheme and a bonus. But I'm also seeing businesses, particularly consultancies, where their salaries, it takes a lot for those pay grades to upgrade, will offer a sign-on bonus, or will offer like autonomy to grow a team from scratch if it's a particular passion area. So you're right, it's not just salary. I do have data on salaries if anybody wants like the average salary data. But it's that whole holistic package and that grown-up approach to work. Yeah. No?
Thanks. Hello? Yep. So you said earlier that salaries were quite wild at the moment. Mm-hmm. What would you say, so assuming you had quite a good benefits package with like lots of holiday, your benefit in death, etc., what would you say for somebody maybe with 5 years experience, what would be like at the moment what they should be going for roughly?
5 years experience of, like 5 years experience as a penetration tester should be on generally 60 to 70. That's such a broad question. I would say 60 to 70 as a minimum. Starting salaries in cyber are around £35,000. Around, I'm going to use that very vaguely with like an average of UK. London's higher, and people transitioning in from other industries as well. You know, a graduate can easily get 30,000 if they're in London. But yeah, I would say that 60 to 70 is an average salary. The more specialist your experience, the closer to 90 that you would get to.
Hi, Rose, since you got inside knowledge, like my LinkedIn inbox is filled with, job offers. Yeah. But even recruiters, I don't know why, is there a fear to share the salary? Because there's always, when you are, my first question would be, what's the salary? And then the question is spinned on, what are you looking for?
So chances are they've got more than one role that they're trying to hire for, so they don't want to switch you off if you're potentially interested in a move. They should be able to share a salary. 99.9% of our job adverts have a salary on, unless a client says that we can't. And I have one customer that says that we can't, it's very frustrating. But then I put the line, ask me for the salary banding, because I can tell you, I just can't advertise it. I would say 99, a lot of the time they want to find out what you're looking for because they've got more than one role on the desk. But yeah, if they're not prepared to share, then neither should you divulge at the same time. And if a recruiter asks you what salary are you on, spin that and say, no, I'll tell you what I'm looking for. If there's a wild jump, they might ask, as you built up some trust, they've shared a job spec, what's most important to you, because it's not just salary, like the gentleman said before, it's the whole package. A lot of people will say to me, we're suddenly being forced back into the office, so that's why I'm looking. So that's a different driver than a salary.
Every message is without a salary. Every message, like how I can gauge my interest if you're not getting like 3 details, like what the job entails, what they're paying.
It's frustrating, I can imagine. Well, I would always have a job advert link with a salary. Here's a job advert that you can look at, unless, like I say, a client's not disclosed. Right, I'm going to have to go, but we can continue this conversation.